I think the main part that's satisfying about the writing is when a song, either by us three, is presented to Scott. His way of putting what he has to the song is really fulfilling.
Tiny Music, Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop was Stone Temple Pilots' third studio album. The album was recorded between October of 1995 and January of '96, with the band allowing themselves more time to create Tiny Music than they had on their previous two records, Core and Purple. And they created the album here, in this 25,000 square foot home studio in the Santa Ynez Valley. Drummer Eric Kretz said, "With Tiny Music, it was wonderful for all of us to be in a house and have a whole month to write an album and just live there and enjoy the excesses of life." And being in that massive house and at that different location gave Kretz the chance to record his drums a little bit more differently this time around. In fact, the drums for Big Bang Baby were recorded outside on the front lawn.
The foyer of that house was almost as big as a gymnasium, as like a high school gymnasium, and we utilized each room and the sound of each room on that record.
Or no room, because Eric went out. Eric had this little thing about where he could record in the house, drums. So he recorded...
What has not been done before,
Yeah.
you know? What's the challenge here?
So he recorded out on the lawn.
So Big Bang Baby was recorded on the lawn. Because contrary to what I thought, you go out to the lawn, there's no reflections coming back, so there's no reverb. It's just dry, open grass area. So we set up out there, and I know the sprinklers were coming on.
That's right.
Within an hour or so, we had to make it quick. I don't know why we couldn't have just turned off the sprinklers, but...
I know, we didn't know how to.
Yeah.
But then you were like, all right, Lady Picture Show. Okay, let's record the drums up on the top floor in the attic in a cedar-lined closet.
Yeah.
It was like...
It's like good in theory until I got up there and started sweating.
Yeah,
it was probably about 110 degrees, and that was a tough one.
But before the band had moved into the home studio to record Tiny Music, things hadn't been so great. Because a few months prior, in early 1995, the band had to scrap 2 weeks' worth of recorded material due to Scott Weiland being arrested for drug possession, and he was sentenced to 1 year's probation for that. Scott and the rest of the band went their separate ways for a short time, but came back together for the making of Tiny Music, and this is where they wrote, reconnected, and relearned how to be the Stone Temple Pilots.
We hadn't played together in a year. I mean, the band had almost broken up. It was like starting over. It worked out great, you know, and when we all got together, it was a pretty good environment because you got to be like, you know, kids again, playing around all the time and making music, which is what we love.
With STP's first two records, they were more focused on the hard rock side of things. But with Tiny Music, the band came up with much more of an alternative sound, almost psychedelic in parts, and strongly influenced by such genres as 60s and 70s rock, jazz, and bossa nova. It's all in there. Brendan O'Brien, who had worked with STP on their first two records, produced the album. And in addition to that, Brendan also played on the album too, on piano and percussion on various songs.
He's just truly amazing. He has impeccable ears. He's a great guitar player. And when we're doing something, it's like we don't even have to talk. What I'm trying to convey onto tape, he already hears it without me even explaining it, and it just happens, you know?
Here, bassist Robert DeLeo recalls a funny story about Scott Weiland and how he came up with the riff for the song Tumble in the Rough.
He did pick up a guitar for Tumble in the Rough, and he drove us crazy. He drove us crazy with
There was a guitar here. We could show you why.
Yeah.
He drove us crazy with that because every time we were around him, he played two chords, and he'd go, da-da-da-da-da-da. Man, I got this idea. There's a shit, da-da-da-da-da-da. And he would do that over and over, and it was like, that's...
All right, we'll do it. We'll talk.
All right, so...
Tiny Music Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop is 12 tracks of alternative rock, taking on a much more different sound and style from STP's first 2 records, but still boasts classic rock songs such as Pops Love Suicide, Tumble in the Rough, Big Bang Baby, and the massive Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart.
Now we're in Atlanta, finishing up the record. Basically, we're here to do, for me to do my stuff. I have half of the songs still to sing, and I'm trying to discipline myself to finishing a song a day.
The album was released in March of 1996 and debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 chart. Due to Weiland's continued drug use after his initial sentence, the Stone Temple Pilots had to cancel some of their 1996 and 97 tour for Tiny Music, so that Scott could go into rehab. And due to this cancellation of the tour, Tiny Music did not receive as much exposure as was initially intended. The album was certified 2 times platinum, that's over 2 million copies sold, but was not as commercially successful as STP's first 2 records. 3 singles were released from Tiny Music: Big Bang Baby, Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart, and Lady Picture Show, with a pretty cool psychedelic music video for Big Bang Baby being made.
At the beginning of the song, play the camera 2, get your eyes like right in camera 2.
We've never done something where it's like, okay, music and we're just playing, so we wanted to make it as basic as we could get.
Okay, so after we shot the video, we edited it right there, right?
Right there, yeah.
So we're like, put in hearts. Yeah, put in put in squares. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we're gonna have this guy with a gorilla mask on hitting somebody over the head with a bottle.
I forgot
Cool.
that was in there, and I just saw that video recently, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that is so funny.
The album cover, created to resemble a 70s style LP cover and based on an idea from Weiland, features a woman in a swimsuit standing in a pool with a crocodile in it. The cover model used was a family friend of the art director John Hayden. And that little altar that you can see in the background of the cover, that was a last-minute addition that Scott wanted to put in. And the cool thing with the cover is it's like a massive pull-out deal, like a big fold-out. It contains various photos from the band, you've got all the lyrics in there and everything, so pretty cool setup there.
But if I was on a desert island and it was one of my albums that I had to choose from, I would choose Tiny Music.
And is that the one that you're most proud of?
I think that's STP's most creative album.
The 3-CD, 1-LP set included a newly remastered version of the original studio album on both CD and vinyl. You had unreleased and early versions of songs, instrumentals, and alternate takes, plus a complete concert recording from 1997 was included. So, Tiny Music, Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop. Well, first off, it's a pretty cool name for an album, right? As mentioned previously with Core, it was hard and heavy. Purple, while still very grungy and had that heavy tone to it, started to move away from that Core sound a bit. And Tiny Music was kind of just a natural progression further along, right? Just kept going further away from that hard and heavy grunge sound and really just did its own thing. The songs are great here. You've got that little intro to start the album called Press Play, and then you get into the first official track on the album, that's Pops Love Suicide. As I say, some really great rock songs in here. Different types of rock songs that maybe STP had done previously, but still great rock. Songs like Tumble in the Rough, Big Bang Baby, Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart, still hard out rock. Lady Picture Show, of course, a big hit from this album. Very cool song, great song. But you look at a song like Art School Girl, that's really cool, just something totally different. A very cool vibe with that song. And you've got this totally epic song on this record, the song Adhesive, over 5 minutes in length, and the lyrics on that one just go everywhere. That really is a standout track from this album. You have a second instrumental here apart from that intro, that's Daisy, just like a little guitar interlude. But all these songs, Ride the Cliche, 7 Cage Tigers, and So I Know, very cool songs and makes for a very cool album from STP. So there it is, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. Be sure to drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll catch you next time.
I have to remind myself to remain humble in the face of music all the time, or else it'll, I don't know, maybe that gift could be taken away.